Hello, I received a comment from Keith Spielberg, aka Keith Bradley. It was about one of my vlogs which I had written and sorry, I'd actually filmed, and in it he mentioned the demise of Tommy Sampson. Now, the name Tommy Sampson will perhaps not mean a great deal to many of you, but Tommy Sampson had perhaps the best, the brightest, the biggest big band ever heard in the United Kingdom. And this is comparing him with the likes of Ted Heath, who incidentally managed to purloin lots of Tommy's musicians at a later stage. So that gives you some idea as to the stature of Tommy Sampson. The musicians who played for Tommy were, it was like a who's who of everyone who was good and best in the British big band scene. His favourite haunt was the Eldorado Ballroom in Edinburgh, or I should say in Leith, which is now absorbed as into a district of Edinburgh, but of course really it stands completely on its own. The nights that we experienced with the dance scene at the Eldorado, it was quite incredible. It was a very long hall, and reminiscent of, perhaps some of you have seen black and white film clips of people dancing at perhaps the Hammersmith Palace in London. Big, long, cavernous hall, thousands of people, absolutely incredible amount of people queuing up outside the doors to get in to dance. Now this is in the sort of late 1940s, when in fact I was only a 15, 16-year-old boy. But of course dancing started at a very early age at that stage. Tommy was a Salvation Army member for a long time. I believe he started playing the cornet when he was a very young boy, somewhere in the region of 5, 6 or 7, and continued playing an active part in the Salvation Army movement. Now, I don't really know a great deal about Tommy as such in that respect, but certainly you will find lots of information on the internet about Tommy Sampson. His stories are quite incredible, or stories of Tommy are quite incredible. And an old friend of mine, Dougie Cooper, who lives down in this area, used to be Tommy's drummer. And Dougie used to tell me that he had been sacked by Tommy on several occasions. He had been certainly not paid by Tommy on several occasions, and the cheque was always in the post. But at the same time, the loyalty shown by ex-members of Tommy's band was quite incredible. He was the kind of guy that really all he had to do was to pick up the telephone and say, can you play, or can you do this gig for me? And they would come running. And this is guys who at the present moment, or certainly previously, were at the top of their tree professionally in the music scene in the UK. In fact, the last time I saw Tommy on stage with his band, he actually stopped the band mid-flow because he wasn't happy with the way the band was playing. Now this was obviously a live concert in front of a large audience, and as I said, the alumni of the band was quite amazing, big names in the big band scene, and Tommy just turned around and said stop, and get your act together and let's start again. Quite an amazing sight, but really, in many respects, that sums up Tommy. He did a concert in Edinburgh perhaps 5-6 years ago, and it was an evening, a jazz evening, and it included the BBC Radio Big Band, and Billy May, the great Billy May, was conducting. So on stage and certainly backstage, we had two of the greatest big band arrangers, big band conductors, composers, call you what you like. I would have loved to have been a spider or a fly on the wall and listening to the conversation of those two great guys. It must have been amazing. When I heard about the death of Tommy, obviously my mind went right back to those particular days, really just after the end of the Second World War. Things were beginning to brighten up a little bit, and there was a great release of energy everywhere throughout the United Kingdom. And this, in a strange way, manifested itself in the dance halls. There was a proliferation of dance halls everywhere. Everywhere you went, there was a dance hall. And certainly in the Edinburgh district or area, you could dance perhaps at a different venue for a complete month without reverting to the original. And of course, I never really thought about it before, but certainly the musicians must have had a field day, because there wasn't all that many musicians, and the guys must have been rushed off their feet and certainly playing every night. And if you were worth your salt, you must have been raking it in, which was pretty damn good, really, because musicians have never really been noted for the money that they actually receive for playing. So good luck to the guys. But the dance halls, you could reel them off. As I said, there was so many, commencing with small groups, quintets, septets, octets, non-tets, you name it, every kind of tet possible, and then going up into the 13-piece, the 15-piece, 17-piece, 19-piece, 20-piece. They were all there, and wonderful musicians. It was so vibrant. It's difficult really to try and convey the energy which was generated in all those dance halls. Very sweaty, very smelly, very smoky, because at that time there was no restrictions on smoking. Drinking, there was no alcohol sold in those places. All the drinking had to be done at the pub. So you rushed out to the pub, had your quick couple of pints, into the dance hall, come the interval, back out from the dance hall, into the pub, another drink, and back to the dancing, and then jumping on the last bus. Or if you were unlucky, missing the last bus and having to walk perhaps 2-3 miles home. All great fun. So to Tommy, I wish you all the best, which seems a rather strange thing to say, but I'm sure he would appreciate that particular comment. Nice to have known you, Tommy. God bless you. Take care.